Chapter 7 Sources of Water. Water is all around us, in the air and in the ground. It is in milk, vegetables, fruits, wheat, leaves, trunks, roots and branches of a tree. It is even in stones. All the living things need water to survive. No life is possible without water. Water is essential for life. We can live without food for several weeks, but without water, one cannot live more than a few days. We need a lot of water for our daily activities. Water is one of the most common substances on the earth. It covers over 70% of the surface of the earth. There are three main sources of water: rain, surface water and underground water. Rain. Most of the water on earth comes from rain. A large amount of rainwater falls into the major oceans, water bodies such as rivers, seas, ponds and lakes. It seeps into the soil until it reaches a layer of non-porous rocks. This water is known as underground water. Rainwater is the purest form of natural water, but it gets impaired as it falls through dust particles, sulfur gases, and carbon gases in a polluted atmosphere. Surface water. We see surface water every day. Runoff is the water that runs in gutters, off roofs, and out of mall parking lots when it rains. This is surface water too. It is any water that travels or is stored on top of the ground. This would be the rivers, lakes, streams, reservoirs, even the oceans. Ponds. Rainwater sometimes collects on earth in a small body of water called a pond. It may be natural or man-made. During the summer season, some ponds get dry. Lakes. A lake is bigger than a pond. The water in a lake contains dissolved impurities like clay and germs, so it is not safe for drinking. Rivers. Rivers originate from high mountains. Water is present in frozen form as glaciers. Rivers are formed when the ice in glaciers melts because of the heat of the sun. Some of India's biggest rivers like the Ganga, the Yamuna and the Brahmaputra originate in the Himalayas. When snow in the mountains get melted, these rivers are formed. These rivers are called snow-fed rivers. These rivers carry water throughout the year. Some rivers carry water only during the rainy season. They are dependent on rainfall for water. These are called rain-fed rivers. They often dry up during the summer season. The Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and Mahanadi are rain-fed rivers. Waterfalls. Sometimes a river went down, often vertically from a height, forming a waterfall. A waterfall looks beautiful, but its water is not suitable for drinking. Oceans and seas. An ocean or sea is a large body of water. There are 5 oceans in the world. They are the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic, and Antarctic. A sea is smaller than an ocean. Rivers add dissolved salts into the sea from the rocks they flow through. Thus, sea water contains a large amount of dissolved salts. We cannot use it for drinking and our daily purposes. Underground water. We cannot actually see the water. Any water that is underground is groundwater. When the water seeps down, it will reach a layer of ground that already has water in it. Groundwater flows through layers of sand, clay, rock and gravel. This cleans the water, but it has its problem too. When farmers use fertilizers and insecticides, rainwater washes them into the soil where they get mixed with the groundwater. Groundwater does not need as much treatment as surface water, but it usually gets some because of these problems. Sources of underground water. To get underground water, we have to install wells, tube wells and hand pumps. Wells and tube wells. In villages, wells are dug to bring underground water to the surface. A wheel called Persian wheel draws out the water from wells. This water is used for household works and to irrigate fields. Many times the underground water is very deep. We cannot get water by digging wells. Then a big bore is dug with the help of machines. Tubes are sunk in these bores and pumps are also installed. The pumps run on electricity or diesel. Water is brought up with the help of this pump. Such wells are called tube wells. They are commonly used in farms for irrigation in Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Gujarat. In the southern plateaus, the ground is hard. It is difficult to dig wells. People often use tanks and ponds. Hand pumps. Like tube wells, hand pumps also draw out water for drinking. Pebbles at the bottom of the well helps in filtering water. However, only water from a covered well is safe for drinking. Natural spring. Groundwater may run along the layer of non-porous rock and come out onto the surface, forming a natural spring. Storing water. We can store water in the following ways. Dams. Dam is a structure that blocks the flow of river, stream or other waterways. Some dam diverts the flow of river water into a pipeline, canal or channel. Others raise the level of inland waterways to make them navigate by ships and barges. Others raise the level of inland waterways to make them navigate by ships and barges. Many dams harness the energy of falling water to generate electric power. This type of electricity is called hydroelectricity. Dams also hold water for drinking and crop irrigation and flood control. From ancient times to the present, people have built dams to capture water and store it to irrigate crops in areas where rainfall does not provide enough ground moisture for plant growth. Reservoir and canals. A usually artificial lake that is used to store a large supply of water for use in people's home and business is known as reservoir. Release of water from the reservoir can be flowed into a canal, ditch or pipe that carries that water to fields. Rainwater harvesting. During the rainy season, rainwater is collected in these tanks or ponds. This rainwater is also collected on roofs of buildings and allowed to flow into a deep hole dug into the ground. This method is called rainwater harvesting. This collected water in tanks or ponds is used for irrigation during the dry season. This method of irrigation is mostly practiced in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Uses of water. Water is used for many purposes. Drinking. Water is taken from rivers and reservoirs and pumped into homes by pipes for drinking. Domestic use. Water is used for cooking, washing clothes, bathing, washing cars, washing dish plates, etc. Industrial use. Factories take water directly from rivers and reservoirs. The water is used for many different things such as cooling, driving machinery, and to generate electricity in a hydroelectric power station. Agriculture. Farmers take water directly from the river or reservoir to water their crops. Irrigation channels carry water from the river to the farmers' crops. Sometimes farmers use pumps or machinery to get the water from the river. Drinking water in the house. We all need safe water for drinking. In most cities, water is supplied from lakes and rivers. However, before the water supply, it is filtered in water purification plant. To kill the germs, chlorine is added in the water. Then purified water is supplied to our taps at our home. Thus we get safe drinking water from the taps. Cleaning water at home. Sometimes, especially during the rainy season, tap water may not be clean enough to drink. It may contain germs and suspended impurities. We can make water fit for drinking by boiling for 15 minutes and filtering. This kills all the germs in it. We can also clean by passing it through water filters and purifiers which filter the water and kill the germs using UV, that is ultraviolet